Hey everybody, welcome back. It's the Mac, and welcome back to the channel. And welcome back to another John Tiller software title. It's Squad Battles. And you see if I can pronounce it correctly. Dien Bien Poo. Dien Bien Poo. I don't know. Anyway, so squad battles, man. Yeah, we're back to individual squad, small scale warfare here, controlling individual squads and platoons and firing different kinds of weapons. We're going down to the squad battles, small scale combat. This is the small scale. The smallest scale of combat available of the games on John Tiller's software site there. And so this is covering the French Indochina War. During World War II, we know the Japanese expanded their territories and conquered a lot of countries in Asia, and many of the European colonies were actually taken by the Japanese, as we know. And the French Indochina, the Vietnam, nowadays Vietnam and Laos and all those countries there, Cambodia, they were under sort of French colonial control before World War II. And once the war was over and the Japs lost, those greedy European powers wanted their colonies back. And so this is the staging point of the war that followed. So the French... there was actually a couple of revolutions and uprisings after the war. The Vietnamese and they sort of wanted their independence, of course, after being first conquered by the Western powers and then for the Japanese, and now maybe they had a shot to become, a country of their own, basically, and rule themselves. But the French wanted it back, man. So they came there and unloaded troops and stuff, and sort of wanted to go back to the old colonial days. And there was a couple of, they tried to negotiate. There was a leader there. I can't really remember his name. But he went to France and he wanted to mediate, to maybe get some sort of, that they could have some sort of power over their own country. But the French were having none of that. So civil war basically broke out. Not civil war. I mean, it was like a revolution. They wanted the country back, so they started fighting the French basically, and the French were backed by the United States, at least in military power. They had all their equipment was basically American World War II stuff, There was some heavy fighting, man. I think the conflict lasted for like 10 years, and it was like the prelude to the American Vietnam War that started once the Americans arrived, and the whole thing with fighting communism and all that, sort of the beginning of the Cold War there. This title is great, man. They have a lot of stuff packed into this game. You could basically start from the beginning of the conflict. I think it started like in 46 or something. Yeah, February 46. The earliest. It could even be earlier than that, but I think there's a scenario covering some of the early colonial fighting there. The French tried to move quickly to resist their mastery of the former colony. So there's just like a scenario here in 46. Depicting what the battle could have been like in those days. I mean, it was like a mishmash of equipment and stuff like that. So I think the next scenario kicks off already in 47. So I mean, there was fighting going on there in 46, skirmishes and ambushes and stuff like that. But the war really starts to kick off there in 47 in a large scale once the communist leadership has managed to create armed forces. They got to be backed up by the Russians already, because they're using a lot of the Russian equipment and the Chinese stuff, I think. So it goes on. There's lots of scenarios here. this is a great game. I recommend you guys to get this if you like squad battles. So the squad battles is the small scale. I think it's like 5 minute a turn. I think a hex. Is it 50 meters or less? Maybe 20, maybe 15 meters or something. 5 meters. Jeez, something like that. It's small scale basically, and. So I mean, a big jump there from from the Panzer campaigns where a hex is a kilometer and a turn is like 2 hours. You're moving like battalions and whole companies around fighting. Here you're moving individual squads and leaders and stuff like that. So always when you get this is a good program actually. It's on the John Tiller's site there. If you own a lot of John Tiller's titles, this is great because. You can quickly launch the games by this the John Tiller menu program. You can get it on the site there. It's really good. And also, what's good about it is that if you click on the game here, you will see lots of very nice documentation here. That is very good, very handy to take a look at. The game comes with quite a lot of information actually. So if you're not very, I was not very familiar with this conflict actually. I mean, I knew about it. But I had to read up on it and do some research on it, which is always great with all the John Tiller titles. Always, I mean, it's like a history lesson basically in warfare. These games are so great. You really dive into that and you read some good books and articles about it, and you get a good feel and understanding of the conflict. It's great. That's how I play these games. I mean, I see them as sort of part of an education as well because they're so accurate and so well researched. It's just great stuff. So yeah, there's a campaign game that comes with the game as well. I haven't checked that one out, and I might do that in another video. It'd be fun to see what kind of campaigns they got going there. And there's designer notes that are really good. And there's maps that comes with the game as well that you can have a look at the whole, get a good overview of what's going on there. There's of course the user manual, and always this is good to always do the getting started. Read that and play the recommended scenario for it. You'll get a good understanding of some of the basic mechanics of the game, and then after that you can dive into the real meat, the user manual there, and read up on stuff that you might not be that familiar with. You want to know more about because it's quite deep, these games. I mean, many of the John Tiller titles are actually quite easy to play. I mean, when I play these games, I don't use that many. I mean, you don't have to know the whole spectrum of things. I mean, you could play by just learning the mechanics of the game and get a good feel of it. And it's only a few buttons and a few commands that I use when I play, and it works fine for me. But you can, if you want, you could dive deep into these games, and really, get down there in the deep and learn some stuff. I mean, it's great. So let's see here. The game is already fired up here. Yeah. So there's lots of interesting. You can have a look. Always check the game folder. It's always good to go in here. You can also double click. I mean, you can easily access these. If you don't want to use the program, you can just go in here and look at the PDF files. You get a good feel of what's going on in here. This is a really good PDF file. This summarizes all the operations that comes in the game. It's great. So you get a good feel of it, and I do like that they made it in sort of a chronological order. So it starts off early in the conflict, and if you want to play the whole from the start, from the early engagements all the way to the end, it's a good way to get a good overview of the whole war. So yeah, these are I don't know if these operations actually are in chronological order, but the game is. I mean, as you can see here, the getting started is just that's not really part of it. It's just to make you learn the game basically. But 46 is definitely where the conflict started there. If we go right to the end here, you have conflicts at 54 here, the summer. Yeah, so this is where the battle, I mean the war sort of ended. So some of the last fighting going on there. And the interesting thing is that this war was actually going on at the same time as the Korean War was going on. So the Korean War is always usually referred to as the Forgotten War, but I mean the Korean War kicked off in 1950 there. So that war was going on at the same time. So that's interesting to see here. Right. So this is how the game starts. It looks like when you fire it up, you get all the scenarios. I mean, I've covered quite a few John Taylor titles, and there's going to be lots more on the channel for sure. Hopefully, I will cover them all one day if I have the time. But this is well, I lost what I was going to say there, but. Anyway, I'm going to be playing this game. Actually, I'm going to do a Let's Play, and I'm going to be doing what I usually do, a PBM battle to play against a human opponent. So my gaming buddy Ash there is up for a fight as usual, and so you guys can see. I mean, so there's a challenge. I mean, some of these scenarios are probably really challenging versus the AI. Anyways, I mean, squad battles is brutal, man. I mean, one mistake and you're done, man. I mean, unlucky rolls, or if you rely upon the position to hold out, and suddenly, man, you get an unlucky strike there, and you lose a couple of guys, and they break and they start running, and you're up shit creek, man. So, I mean, it's pretty deadly games, these squad battles. That's what I like about these. Anything can happen. I mean, if you get unlucky there. And even though like assaulting is really fun in this game, you think you have the upper hand, man. You got it all lined up. You got the enemy disrupted and everything, and you coming up with a fresh squad, and you attack, and boom, they fire back, man. And they fight viciously, and you get defeated. I mean, so I like that. I mean, that's the fog of war. That's the craziness of war. Anything can happen. So that is really well depicted in all the John Taylor titles. I think even Panzer campaigns and Panzer battles is really good. So, right, so I was thinking, why not play something around the great title of the game here, Dien Bien Phu. So, that was a really far forward base or operations for the French, sort of in the last stages after the Dien Bien Phu massacre, so to speak. The French pulled out. I mean, they knew they couldn't do this. I mean, they were beaten off there, and they had no idea that the communists could field that many armed forces, and just, I mean, it was nuts. I mean, it was crazy. They were really outnumbered, and it was sort of like if you go back to World War II on the Eastern Front, this same deal there with the Germans versus the Russians there. The Germans greatly underestimated the Russian manpower and industrial capabilities. So they were grinded down and then utterly defeated. And the same thing happened here, basically. I mean, that's the story of war. It's not the first time. It's happened many, many times. So superiority in numbers usually wins the day. If you have enough bodies to throw at something, they're going to break through sooner or later, even though you take horrendous casualties. So this Beatrice here. So the story was that the French airlifted a heck of a lot of troops into the Dien Bien Phu Valley or area, and they established like a really powerful fire bases there, and they had 4 forward bases, and there was an airfield there. We're trying to repair it because it was really far from Saigon, that the base. I mean, for supplies to fly in there, they barely made it there and back because of the fuel. I mean, it was really far stretched there. And so they landed a heck of a lot of troops there. I think it was a couple of battalions, and there was French Foreign Legion troops there, and there was many indigenous troops as well that they had trained and was fighting for the French there. And but the communists, man, they had raised like 6 divisions or something crazy like that total. And they surrounded this place, man, and they had artillery and pretty good weapons, and the French had totally underestimated these guys, and so they surrounded, and the French was annihilated, man. They were defeated there pretty badly, but they put up one hell of a fight. I mean, there was a lot of these communists that got killed in this fight, but I guess they didn't care. They just threw these guys in there, and it was a massacre. But they overran these positions, and the French was utterly defeated there. So Beatrice, right? So I was thinking of playing this. Could be interesting because it's sort of covering the title of the game there, the beginning day of the main attack versus Dien Bien Phu here. So it started the 13th of March there, yeah. And it was the northeast sector of the area. It was a fortified. The French had a couple of fortified camps around Dien Bien Phu, and so the commies were first. Their strategy was to annihilate these four camps and then make a final assault towards the end there. So best played as French or PBM. We're going to be playing PBM here. It's a French battalion versus a Vietnamese regiment, man. I saw some documentary about that battle, and I think the first day there, I think there was somewhere, that forward camp, I think there was like almost 700 French defenders there. But the Vietnamese, they threw a whole division in there. So, the French must have been outnumbered 10-1 at least, or something like that. It was nuts. A whole division versus that battalion. It's crazy. But they took them the whole day. I think they took them the whole day to capture that place. And I think in the end, I think the French took something like 500 casualties. And I think about 200 guys managed to escape that place. And of course, the Vietnamese took a lot more. So the initial French positions at Dien Bien Phu were mainly clustered around the airfield and bridges near the village. In addition, the French established several outlying strongpoints, including one called Beatrice, east of the main positions and manned by forces of the Foreign Legion. So those guys are badass. After months of build-up, the expected Vietnamese offensive began at the Beatrice strongpoint in the middle of the night. So it's going to be a night fight, man. Right, using human wave attacks, the Vietnamese completely overran the strongpoint. This would begin the attrition of the Dien Bien Phu forces and positions that was to end 2 months later. 2 months, man. So it was a pretty long fight going on there. Right, so we're going to be playing that, man. We're going to be playing by email. So what you do is just click that and you choose your scenario if you're going to be playing against an opponent. It's 15 turns. This is No Time for Nerves. I like the name of the title there. And we got John Tiller has actually been designing this, so that's cool. All right, let's kick this one off then. I'm going to be the Vietnamese, I think. It'd be fun. See if I can do it. What they did. We're going to have Fog of War on. We're going to let my buddy Ash be the French. He's probably going to be massacring me like nuts, but I'm going to be the one attacking. He's going to be the one defending there. So this is going to be tough, probably. But I like a challenge there. All right, we got rules. Right, so we got vehicle fire over. I like that, so I'm going to have that on. Optional fire, optional assault, quality loss, my alternate fire density. I don't like this. Variable ending could be good to have, actually. Maybe give us a couple more turns if we're really close. But we're going to leave this off. We're going to go with the standard fire results and assault rules, and the quality loss could be unchecked as well. Why not? So just keep it basic here, right? Okay. And away we go, I guess. So yeah, I'm going to be starting this. So this is the game now. Vietnamese. Turn 1 of 15. All right. We got support is available. Scenario has an illumination limit of 6. The scenario has a human wave limit of 12. Right, so I'm going to be... Holy shit, look at the forces here. Right, so I'm going to be using human wave tactics. Not that familiar with that. I should have read... I should have read something about that before this fight. See if I can remember how to do it. I think I used... I remember how you use it in the Japanese, there's another squad battles where you use banzai attacks. So, and I think you used the human wave when you play the Russians as well during World War II there. Okay. Right, so look at the situation here. Okay, let's hold shift in here. You can check names on the map. We got some B2, B3 there. Okay, we've got, yeah, this is Beatrice then. Okay, so that must be Beatrice 1. And so there is sort of a doesn't look like that big of a base. There's probably more stuff in here though. Probably shitload of fortifications and stuff in there. Holy crap, look at the amount of troops I got here. Jeez. Wow. Yeah, as I said, they flew a division at this place. So what they're showing here is a regiment. So the first attack was probably made like a regiment. There's a couple of regiments in the division, so we probably threw a couple of regiments at this place before it got run over. Right, what we got? We got, so here we got the French. So these guys are probably going to be badasses. We got a French squad in those. They're in trenches. They got good defense. We do have this annoying barbed wire crap, which we're going to have to go through. There's something over here. Nam yum. Improved position. So that's going to probably, there could be artillery here. We've got the fire team there. So they got, the FM is the French. The Mass rifle there. They got rifle grenades. They have submachine guns. Not spotting that much American equipment here. But the French Foreign Legion. Okay. What we got over here? So we do have some. We got the BAR there. That's American. They got a bar Browning automatic rifle there. And yeah. Okay. So they got a platoon there in those trenches there with loads of barbed wire there. All right, what do we got here? Jeez. All right, we do have artillery here. No, we have something Type 51. What the hell is that? Looks like a bazooka or something. Heat ammo, yeah. And we have an anti-tank rifle. All right, there's lots of units to go through here. 82 millimeter mortars. Okay. We have. This must be the main dude. All right, so here's some buttons. I like to use this, highlight organization. And then I know that this leader is actually commanding this whole thing here. And this looks like to be a infantry battalion. This guy's in charge here, okay. Where's the main dude here? The main leader. Here, maybe. Yeah, this is the major. Yeah, he's a major. Okay, he's not the main man. Maybe here? Captain? Lieutenant? Alright, there's a lot of units to keep track of here. What's this? We got a colonel. Yeah, this is the main guy here. Colonel Dien. He is the main man. He's standing up there. He's got his radio dude there. There is some mortar positions close to him. Okay. We have headquarters squads. Captain Trung. He's part of that heavy weapons platoon there. Okay, he's got some mortars there. What's all this? Okay, we got some anti-tank rifles and bazookas moving up behind the main bodies here. What do we got? We got sappers in the front, I hope. We do have sappers. Right, but they have Bangalores. Interesting. Bangalores. How to use those? I think you're gonna have to read up on the manual here, man. Bangalores. Okay. Yeah, they have a lot of stuff to clear these barbed wires with. What's behind? This must be the waves of infantry. Yeah, look at this. Got platoons lined up here. They have the Russian PPS H-41 submachine guns there. They have ZB. I don't think that's Russian. Isn't that ZB? Isn't that like some other M18 there? Okay, 762 there. These are Russians rifles, I think. Right, so there's like 30 men, a platoon there. 30 men. Okay, we got some more dudes. We got all these guys lined up here. This is gonna be a slaughter, man. It's gonna be. We got a captain here. He's in charge of the engineers, it seems. The Regiment Recon Company. All right, so the Recon Company is basically engineers and sappers. Okay. What's this? We have Captain Dien. Okay, he's got his own. He must be a company commander or something. Infantry battalion there. He's got 3 platoons under his command there. What else? What we got here? Lieutenant Thung. Right, he's got some guys there. Oh man. Okay. All right. So there's a bunch of stuff here. We got some fixed units in the back. Okay. So I'm gonna be reading up on some rules actually. So I'm gonna be not do anything. I'm just gonna have a look at the stuff and. I'm going to end that video, and then I'm going to read up on some of these so I do this right, because this is probably really crucial in this fight. The Bangalores, range 1, I mean, I think you just basically attack the hex. Usually, some of these sapper units can have wire cutters, and I think you do the same. You sort of just select the wire cut and sort of do a attack on the hex, basically, and they attempt to cut the wires. But in this case, we have satchel charges and Bangalores. So I guess you just basically blow this up with Bangalores and then you can move in. That's how it works. I think. Oh man, look at this. I mean, I think I read somewhere the French caused some horrendous casualties on the Vietnamese here with artillery. I mean, you can see here. I mean, look at the cluster of troops. When the rounds started coming down here, man, there's going to be a lot of dead guys for sure. All right, what kind of support we got? They said we had support. Right, we have 105 howitzers. They're available, so I can do some pre-firing here. We do have heavy mortar support as well. We're going to be calling those in immediately. So what you do is you just call them in, and it will say in your command report as your turn ends that it's actually available, the artillery. So we start off right off the bat with available artillery, which is great. Okay, so there's actually, oh my god, there's 2 attack points here. Jeez. All right, so I think it's basically the same setup here, probably. Yeah, it's the same setup. So I'm going to be sending waves and waves of infantry in here, which are going to be slaughtered, but some of them will probably, hopefully, make it through the line there and start assaulting these trenches to try to capture them. But there's going to be a heck of a lot of stuff here, probably. All right, what do we got in the back here? This looks like a pretty big force here. All right, we got reinforcements moving in here. Yeah, there's a lot of troops. We got some trenches that are being pre-built here. Lots of mortar. There's going to be a shitload of firing going on here. Okay, so I'm just going to be reading up on some rules, I guess. And we're going to kick this sucker off. And I'm going to be back. I could just pause the video, actually, which I will do. Let's do and see how I'm doing on time here. Okay, I forgot to start my timer, so I don't know how long I've been recording. But I'm going to be pausing this and, yeah, or just end it maybe. And I'll be right back in the next part because I'm going to do some reading on human waves and Bangalores. Wow, this is going to be one heck of a fight for sure. So thanks for watching, and leave comments and stuff if there's any more questions. I'm going to be, when I'm playing this, I'm actually going to be talking a bit about how I'm moving and what buttons I'm using and stuff. So if you have any more questions about other stuff, I'm going to look it up and comment it as this battle progresses. So thanks for watching, man, and see you in the next.